Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I am bringing you my take on the extremely buffed Goku Black from Set 2. I think that Goku Black was already a really good strong blue leader in Set 1, and I think Set 2, the cards that have just been pulled into its playability is wild. I genuinely think that Goku Black, I think if it wasn't for the buff that Vegeta got from the Bulma alone is enough to make that Vegeta a near top tier deck. I genuinely believe that Goku Black is still absolutely snapped. I think it's just behind Vegeta on the tier level, but it's a very close. Like if I was to just off the top of my head do a tier list right now, you know, if we had tier 1, for me it would still be Frieza, maybe Broly, Gohan, Vegeta, something like that. Like, sorry, Yellow Vegeta I should say, should be up there. Then I would probably have Vegeta and then followed by Goku Black maybe on the tier below, like, you know, tier A, if we had like tier Z, tier A sort of thing. I think that Goku Black is so strong going into this set. I've run I wouldn't call it a strange list, it's more aggressive than anything. You know, we rely on our crits early from the leader, and then the one thing that Goku Black suffers, we were actually talking about this at my locals the other night there, but the one thing that Goku Black suffers from most is its turn 3 and turn 4. Yes, you can do things with your Awaken, you know, bottom deck Zamasus, play out a 4 cost 30k or whatever. There are things that you can do, but it sort of lacks just that ability to play a 3 cost. Now, one of the guys at my locals, James, one of the great UK Dragon Ball Masters players, he's also very good at Fusion World. He put in a tech which was the promo Vegeta for the current set. So this is the one where you discard a card and, you know, it's a 35k. It's a very solid ability for the current set. I think in this set I haven't included it just because I don't think we need it. But anybody looking to play Goku Black currently, check that promo out for sure. It's a great card. It kind of slapped me about last night, or the other night, which was interesting. So it was just to sort of bring some attention to that card as well. But I'm going to go through the Set 2 profile that I have. Like I said, I think this deck is absolutely amazing. I am so looking forward to playing this deck in the next set for sure. So we'll go over it just now. So we're going to start with these Zamasus. We still run 4 of these Zamasus, 10k combo, bottom decks of 1 or less, gets rid of those pesky cantrips. This card is absolutely crazy. Also plays into our Awakened leader ability. Sorry, I should go over the leader first just in case anybody doesn't know. On the Awakened side, or unawakened side, he is critical, so he does not draw. He's a 20k obviously, as all crit leaders gain that plus 5k buff. And then he awakens at 4 or less, you draw a card, flip him over. The flip side is active main once per turn, you bottom deck you bottom deck any Zamasu. That's going to come up important in a minute. You bottom deck any Zamasu, and then your Goku Black's costs are reduced by 2 for the turn. There is a discussion part which I'm going to get to towards the end of this when I reveal a certain card. The cost is specifically reduced on its play. You can't do an effect which I'll go over. It's to do with the 6-drop Goku Black, but yeah, we can essentially pay 1 for our 3-drop Goku Blacks, we can pay 2 for a 4-drop Goku Blacks, or we can pay 4 for a 6-drop Goku Blacks, right? That's what this does. And then these Zamasus are obviously here to help with that. So, but yeah, this Zamasu is absolutely insane. It's just the best 1-drop that Blue has, I think, personally. It's so good. Then we've got the new 1-drop. This card is great as well. If you have a Goku Black battle card, this card cannot be KO'd. I love that, right? So it can't be killed in battle. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal a Goku Black and add it to your hand and bottom deck the rest. So this does what Gowasu does. So we no longer need Gowasu. I know that Gowasu is a Zamasu, or is it a Zamasu or a Goku Black? I can't exactly remember. I think it is. But this card searches our Goku Blacks. So, and the permanence, if we have a Goku Black battle card, it can't be killed. So that's the important part of that. But we'll get to something in a minute with this. It's only a 5k combo, but it does have a really good effect, so we can understand why. I only run 2 of the 15k vanillas. It's mainly due to deck space. I'll go over the full list and I'll show you the kind of issue I felt with the deck space, but again, it's just maybe to do with my build in particular, but I like this card. Then we're going away from the Zamasus, we now go to, typically, 4 Pilafs, of course, one of the best cards in blue. And then 4 Manis. Goku Black is one of the only leaders in blue, besides maybe Trunks, where I think that awakening as fast as possible is the right choice. Getting to that leader ability to bottom deck your Zamasus and play out Goku Blacks is so goddamn strong the quicker you can get to that, the better. So Mai is an absolute 4-of in any Goku Black deck. You rip 2 life, you don't particularly care about the crits. The crit plays very well into the blue strategy of staying at 8 cards in hand, you know, so when we play something we go down to 7 and then we trigger all the effects. But yeah, Mai is an absolute must. I'm still not sold on Vegeta, I'm still not sold on Zamasu per se. There is an argument for it to be in Zamasu, but for now I'm not 100% certain of it, not until I do some testing with that deck. But Goku Black I've tested enough, Mai is a must in that deck. Then this Zamasu. Now, Goku Black's leader skill just says any Zamasu, it's not a 1-cost Zamasu. So we can bottom deck this card, and this card's permanent, saying that this card cannot be removed by the battle area from our opponent's skills, is incredible. It means that yes, red can neg this down, it can minus its power to 0 and it will die, so we just don't play it on those situations. But into yellow, into blue, into, well, maybe not even blue, blue can bounce it back, but into yellow and into green for sure, they cannot touch this card. So we have a guaranteed card that will survive, and plus it's a 20k attacker, so we can attack with it, then bottom deck, and then play out, say, our 4-cost or 6-cost or 3-cost or whatever, right? So this card for me, I have it at 3, only because, again, of deck space. There is definitely, if anybody puts this at 4, I will not decry that. This card is at minimum a 3. I would still argue it should be 4. I just can't fit it into this deck. I don't know what I would cut. Yeah, that's it. Then we go into this card. I love this card. For its art alone on the alt art, oh my god. Like, chef's kiss to this. This is fucking beautiful, this card. On attack, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and play up to 1 Zamasu with a cost of 1. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in a random order. Now, skills are not negated. So you could, either of these two will proc their abilities on play to do their search or to bottom deck a 1 or less. This is also a 10k combo. So this is an absolute must at 4 for Goku Black. An absolute must at 4. You know, offer leader skill. Even if we don't bottom deck as Zamasu, this is now a turn 3 play, which is what Goku Black sorely needed. We now have a turn 3 play. So if we decide not to do the bottom decking effect or whatever, there's no reason. I say there's no reason. There's potentially a reason why you don't, because you kind of want to build your board with Zamasu so you can have like 2 or 3 out at a time. It makes it very difficult for your opponent to just remove 1 or 2 and then not have to worry about them. But yeah, I love this card. This card is so snapped for Goku Black. Very, very strong card. And then we run 3 Vegetos. Once again, we need a turn 3 play. So if we have 7 or fewer cards in our hand, reduce the battle cards in our opponent's battle area by 1, and then it bottom decks a 1 or less. So meaning we either bottom deck a 1-cost or a 2-cost off of this own effect. Plus it's a 25k, very easy to defend in those earlier turns. It's a great card for Goku Black. 100%, I love this card. Then 4 Zamasu Fused. The obvious reason is because... So there's one thing I should state. This is Zamasu Fused. Our leader specifically states Zamasu. So we cannot bottom deck this Zamasu Fused to play a Goku Black. That is a ruling that I will need to get double checked, but based on how I read this card, this is correct. You cannot bottom deck Zamasu Fused for the effect because it is not a Zamasu. It might... I tell you what, actually, let me just quickly go to the card because I can't actually see it there. Let me just quickly go to a Goku Black quickly. Here we go. So, place 1 Zamasu. Yeah, so it's not even with Zamasu in its name. It's just specifically Zamasu. So you cannot use Zamasu Fused for that effect. Okay? But there's 2 reasons to play this card. 1, it's a 4-cost battle card. We'll get to that in a second. But we have a turn 4 play if we just want to tap 4. It draws, it protects itself to a certain extent. This is a great card for 4 energy for sure, and it's a 4-of in this deck, and it's draw power. There's no reason not to run this. We run only 2 of the new Goku Blacks. There's 2 reasons for this. 1 is deck space, so that's going to be a common theme for most of my choices. The other is it's a 5k combo. When I just added every card I wanted into this deck at the ratios I wanted, and I think I ended up with like 57 cards, so I had to make some big cuts. There was honestly potential for me to cut Pilaf, just because Pilaf, there's not a lot of good Earthling choices in this deck. Apart from itself and apart from Final Hope Slash, which I'll get to in a minute, but there was honestly potential I was going to cut Pilaf. But the card is too good. It's so good that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to cut Pilaf. So we opted to cut this. Now the main reason being is that we have some very good 3-cost targets. We have some very good 4-cost targets. This one, if you've got 7 of your cards in your hand, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards that cost a 2 or less and bottom deck it. The bottom deck effect is the part I love about this most. We do not return cards to hand. That's the most important part. It's a 30k, but I don't know. I'm still unsold as to whether or not this, or sorry, unsure as to whether this should be 2 or potentially 3. I would not run it at 4. It's only a 5k combo, where the vanilla from set 1 was a 10k combo, so you at least had that benefit to combo off and get the benefit of a 10k, you know, if our opponent's swinging for 25, let's say. You know, you could combo off that 10k, and then when you go into your 6-drop Goku Black, you could just add that back to hand if you wanted to. This one for me is still a bit unsure. It's definitely needs to be in the deck. It's a very, very good card, very situational. But again, time will tell as to what this ratio should be for this card. But I think we have 6 4 costs and we have 2 very good 3 costs. We also have this as well. Now bear in mind, Goku Black, the 6-drop just says play a 4 or less. So we can play the Zamasu, we can play any of our 1-drops, it doesn't matter. We can. There's a lot of good cards now that we can play off that 6-drop. 2 secret rares, I still think that this is an absolutely snapped card. On play, but like return a 5 or less to hand. Again, if it's a 0k combo, great. But it's a 30k dual attacker. And again, Goku Black, you'll notice in this list I don't run the Vegeta double striker. Again, that was a really tough cut for me, a very, very tough cut, but I think that this deck is better at just going hard face for 1 damage at a time and just swinging for really tall numbers. So I think swinging twice for 30k is better than swinging once for a double strike. Plus this removes a 5 or less, whereas the Vegeta only removes a 4 or less. So into the matchups like yellow, red, blue, we can remove their 5-drop. So I don't know. It's iffy. We could even remove a 6-drop because we have this as well. But again, the likeliness of these two being around on the same turn are very, very slim. But yeah, this card's great. I love it. Then 4 Goku Blacks, because of course we're playing Goku Black. This is our best card to play off of our leader effect for 4 energy. You know, like I said, with this card, we could play this depending on what situation we're in. We could play this, and then again, depending on our energy and stuff like that, but you could theoretically play this. This does a search for Zamasu, the Zamasu then gets played, we then either bottom deck a 1-drop, or we look at the top 3, reveal Goku Black, etc, etc. We can go wide if we decide to do this play, rather than going for either of these two. It's the main reason, sorry, excuse me, it's one of the things for me was very difficult was cutting Trunks, because my favourite thing to do in set 1 was to swing with Goku Black, sometimes even add back the 10k Goku Black, the vanilla one, the 4 cost, the 10k combo, and then just play Trunks from hand, because Trunks bounces a card. It means that we build a board while removing our opponent's board. That for me is still more beneficial to an extent. Again, you know, we could target the Vegito for that, but we are only removing 2 or lesses, which can be quite limiting at times. But yeah, Goku Black is absolutely crazy in this deck. Like, playing this out for 4 energy is wild. And we have so many ways now to protect our... I mean, again, we have this Goku Black. They have to remove this before they remove this, because this card cannot be KO'd. So yeah, we have a lot of really, really good targets for that. And then Old Kai, it's just a super combo that's Supreme Kai. That's pretty much the only reason. It could be any super combo you want for this particular build, but... yeah, again, like I was saying with the Zamasu deck, you could run the Blades of Judgment extra card and just add this. These are all Supreme Kais, the Zamasus, so you could theoretically use that card to just search out your Zamasus, but for me, I'm not a huge fan of it. The best part of that card is being able to search out your super combo, so there is a world where that gets added in. I just don't know what I would cut for it, because like I said, deck space is a big problem. But yeah, it's there for that reason. 2 Final Hope Slashes. It's a way for us to even make these threats, or like any of these 4 realistically a threat, and it's recyclable with Pilaf. So I think 2's fine. Again, maybe an argument for 3, but I think 2's fine. But Gallic Gun for me is still the MVP defensive card for blue, even offensive card, because it's a guaranteed 15 with a potential 20 or 25 depending on what we draw into. yeah, it's for me. I just think that Gallic Gun is one of the MVPs of blue. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I see people who barely run this card in their list, and I just can't. I don't understand. I think this card is so good. But yeah, this is the current list that I'm looking at the minute. I think that this is a very solid start. I like androids for set 2. I believe I've kind of, or at least with androids, I believe I found the best build for androids for sure, for at least on a version 1 basis. I think that this is very, very close to that for me personally. I don't know what ratios I would change or what cards I haven't included. There is one card actually which I didn't include, which we'll see if it's in this list. It is not. We'll go to the card database. It is a 4-cost Goku. This is one of the next best targets. It's discard 3 cards with Saiyan. Now, all of our Goku Blacks are Saiyans, all of our Vegetos are Saiyans. We run a lot of Saiyans, right? The problem is you need to discard 3 of them. But if we're going for game, being able to play Goku Black to then play this card, meaning we get a 30k attack, then an active main, and then a 55k attack. So, in one turn, we swing for 35, 40, and 55. If our opponent's on 1 life, that's nigh on impossible to get out of. It's nearly impossible to get out of, but we have to discard 3 Saiyans. Also, these extra cards are Saiyans as well. I should spot that as well. So, there is possibly a world where I try and cut something to fit this in. It's just the worst thing about this for me is that if we don't have the 3 Saiyans in hand, or if we do and then we kind of leave ourselves flat on everything else, I don't really know how I feel about it, but there is definitely the only change I would make to this deck per se would be to maybe try and fit in the 5-drop Vegeta, even at just a 1-of, maybe. Again, I'm still not sold that that's the way to play this deck in set 2. And then again, maybe to fit this, because the build that we've went for in particular is 1 damage at a time. We're just going tall, we're going to hit for 1 damage constantly, right? That's the idea behind this deck. So when our opponent's at 1 life, this is the best card in blue for that 1 life. Because we get a 30k, and, sorry, yeah, not 35, sorry, we swing for 30, we swing for 40, and then we swing for 55. This is the best way to try and kill our opponent when they're on 1 life. So, keep that in mind, guys. There is definitely a way that we could maybe cut something for that. Again, the reason why I didn't cut Pilaf, so I'll come back to this, is because we need 10k's, right? So in this deck currently we have 4, 8, 10, 14. We only have 14 10k's, and obviously our super combos, I don't include them because I class them as 20k's rather than 10k's, but we have 14. There's not a whole lot there. So when I looked at maybe cutting Pilaf by 1 to fit in another one of these, I was like, I don't like how low we're going with 10k's. That was my big issue. And then again, this is a 0k, the Vegeta's a 0k, so we're starting to build the deck up of 0k's, and I don't know what I would cut. Like, if the more 0k's in blue I run, the more I feel I would want to cut a Goku Black 6-drop. But in this deck you can't. You absolutely cannot drop the 6-drop from 4. You need it at 4. So, I don't know. There's maybe a world where I maybe fit in 2 of those cards, you know, maybe even just drop the Vegeta entirely and put in 2 so we're only running 6, but I don't know what I would cut. This is the thing. I think that my ratios are so fine-tuned as it is. The only card realistically I would cut would be this one. And I don't want to cut this, because it's a Goku Black that we can play out for 2 energy. So, I don't know. That's the thing. There's so many ways that we could build this deck. Blue Spike in set 2, for me, is arguably the biggest spike. Yellow, green, and red just get more of the same, if that makes sense. They get more of the same in the sense of, here are some slightly improved cards, there you go, enjoy, right? That's just kind of it. Blue's cards are so good, especially Goku Black cards. These, like this Zamasu, this Goku Black, this Vegito, this Goku Black as well for this is very, very good. There are still other cards that I haven't included, but I don't know. And the only other card I'm thinking of that I haven't included is the Trunks Future, the 3-drop from the set 1, the SR. It's the only other one that I would maybe try and fit in again, but once again, it's a 5k. We would have to likely cut our 10k's down, and I don't want to do that. I'm still upset that this is only at a 3-off, because our leader effect means that we can play this, we can attack, it can't be removed by skills, we just defend it, and then once again it plays into the strategy of we can, you know, discard a 4 cost, for example, when we get to the 6th drop, we just add them back to hand and then we play them, etc. So, I don't know. There's a lot of ways that we could look to build this deck, but currently I am very, very happy with how this build looks. Once again, I will test the deck, especially when set 2 comes out. I will be testing this on the client, I will be testing it in person. If I feel that this deck needs the 5 drop, I'll put it in. If I feel like it needs the trunks, I'll put it in. If I feel that the deck just needs that last little oomph on that last turn, I will add this in, for sure. So just keep that in mind. It's just, we need to discard 3 Saiyans. If this was just discard 3 cards, if it was only discard 3 cards, 100% it would be in the deck, but it's specific to Saiyan. We do run a lot between these, any Goku Black or Vegito, they are all Saiyans. We have a lot. We do have a lot. So it's definitely a possibility. And it can also discard itself. So if we have 2 copies of this in hand, for example, just use itself as a discard. It's a 0k combo. It's definitely the first card you drop. So yeah, so this card for me is... I want it in the deck, I just don't know how I fit it. That's my problem. But that's for me to decide. That's for me to decide where I'm going to cut things, where I'm... You know, what I would do. Maybe I hate cutting Galactic Gun by 1, but it's possible. I don't know what else I would cut here, realistically. I'm not even comfortable with this only being a 2 of, because we run Final Hope Slashes and we run Pilaf, so this is always a threat. But again, deck space. Deck space was just the big issue. Blue has so many good fucking cards now that I don't, like, I'm now struggling for build. Whereas, when I used to build blue decks in the past, I'd be like, yeah, here's everything I want, and I'd be at like 42 cards. I'm like, well shit, I need to put in 8 cards into this deck. And it's like, I don't know what I'm going to fit in here. And do you know what I mean? Like, now it's the complete opposite. Now it's a case of, I am struggling for space only because there are too many good choices. But yeah, I hope you all agree. I hope that you think that this deck is very good. I genuinely do. Once again, I've not properly tested the deck, of course, because it's set 2. It's not out yet. I've tried to get some games in Untap, but unless I'm playing with friends on Untap, I don't particularly like to use it. So yeah, but this is my current list. I think it's very strong. I think it will go very hard into green decks for sure. I think it will definitely go hard into green decks. The only issue is for me with this deck is yellow. I think yellow will be pretty painful for this deck to deal with, especially Frieza, because they are just going to lock down your board consistently. So, you know, once we swing with Goku Black once, we're likely never getting it again. But once again, it is what it is. We play through it, we see what we can do with it. We have so many good options now to just pressure damage. Even if they lock us out the Goku Black for a turn, you know, we can play the Vegito, we can play this, we can play this. You know, there are so many good options that we can also go into. Or, once again, we just tap 6 and play another one, right? So, or we tap 4, depending on if we have a Zamasu, but that's very unlikely. But, you know, the decisions are always there to be made. Once again, I think this card is very good into a lot of matchups. I think red being the exception. Blue as well, because obviously they bounce it back to hand, or they bottom deck it, which means that the KO protection doesn't exist. But once again, I think that there are very, if they lock us down, there are ways that we can just keep playing very viable, heavy threats, and that's ultimately what I wanted to do with this deck. So, very happy with the build. Like I say, I hope you all agree. If not, put your deck profiles into the comments. Hit me up. I'm very, very open for a discussion on Goku Black. Very, very open for it. It's one of my decks to watch going into this set for sure. I think that there is a very good possibility that a good pilot on this deck could start winning events with Goku Black. I think that it's that good. Yeah, nothing really more to add to that. So, guys, I hope you've all enjoyed the video. I hope you've all enjoyed all of these deck profiles I've been doing. I know that there's not been much gameplay recently, but I'm trying to get myself and you all prepared for set 2. Give you some inspiration, give you some ideas. There are obviously some of my deck profiles I accidentally left out. Super combos in the Vegeta. A lot of people were curious about the Frieza. I left Frieza out in my Frieza deck profile, the secret rare, mainly because I don't particularly like it in Frieza. That's the only reason. I love it in Vegeta because we tap 6, we untap 2 at the end. So it's not crippling us, so to speak. The reason I don't like that Frieza, I'm just going to quickly go over it. The reason I don't like that Frieza secret rare in the Frieza leader is because most decks we play against, apart from green, will just span the board of 3 costs, 4 costs. Like, they will just not play a 5 cost, right? So it doesn't really shut their deck off all that much. That's the reason why I don't like it in Frieza. But in Vegeta, we have the cadence of tapping out, playing that, we get the protection, and then we also have 2 energy open defensively. So that's the reason why I love it in Vegeta, I just don't like it in Frieza. But yeah, I know that we're talking about Goku Black here, so I apologise for that. It's just, if anybody's watching who had that question, I just wanted to answer it. So yeah, but guys, I hope you're all looking forward to set 2, because I certainly am. Really, really looking forward to testing Goku Black, looking forward to testing the androids. There are some changes to Broly, some changes to Gohan, of course. There are definite changes to be made. Yellow's another one. I am super, super hyped for Vegeta. When I did my deck profile, I know I probably didn't sing its praises enough. But I genuinely think that Vegeta is potentially, it's not better than Frieza, I will say that. It's definitely not better than Frieza, but it's potentially the next best deck in the set. That's all I'll say. But yeah, that's it. I'm so hyped, can't wait, and I'm now talking for no reason, so I'm going to end the video. Guys, I hope you've all enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave a like, and if you're not already, please subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.